We're in the collective consciousness. And what is the collective consciousness? It is the collection of all of our thoughts and feelings. That might be a little scary for the universe. Think about it. All of our thoughts and energies just gathered together in one big ball. But your energy, my energy, we are contributing to the collective energy on the planet. So what's going on in the world that maybe has us a little unsettled? Our energy not feeling in alignment? Are we sharing fears over finances and safety? Are we in this energy of worry? Are we looking at the energy of maybe not feeling as if we can survive over the next few months because of a financial hiccup that we may be on? There's so many things that happen in the world that bring forth emotions and feelings within us. And every thought, every action, every feeling begins to send out a frequency. These times are also bringing up a lot of wounds. Our past wounds, things that happened to us that made us not feel like we could accomplish our dreams. Or perhaps we grew up in difficult times, and now that we're feeling as if the world is in a difficult place, we're wondering if we're going to be back to those difficult times. We're in a time in the world where our thoughts are manifesting at a very rapid rate. What we choose to focus our attention on is in a quickening. It's what they call the awakening. It's the shift of energy, and the planet itself is changing its frequency. The actual planet has been measured and its frequency is changing. So we, as a conscious collective group, we are being asked to change our thoughts, our actions, our reactions, and to put ourselves in the energy of love. But where are we? We're in an energy of some very off-putting times. And in some ways, we're feeling a little far from love, yes? And it's a time for each one of us to kind of monitor what's out of sorts within us, in our own soul, in our own hearts, in our own minds. Try to establish a sense of peace. Where's the peace in your life? How can you find peace? Sometimes it is tuning out from some of the things. This doesn't mean we want to be uninformed or uncaring, but it does mean it's a time for us to step into a different perspective for our own safe, our own being, our own energy, so that we can send out a frequency of tranquility and calm and a belief and a feeling that everything can be all right and it will be all right, because there's a higher power working together. Each one of us, all of our souls, we are joined together. There is a thread of energy that connects every one of us all around the planet. So something could be going on the other side of the world, and we feel it. We feel the loss, the pain, the sorrow. We feel the cries for help. We see with our eyes, and we register the hurt, the pain, the angst, the uncomfortableness, and we hold that frequency. And then when we all come together in that frequency, we create this powerful frequency, but of fear and loss and hurt and pain. And you may say, but Sarah, this is what is going on in the world. And I'll say, yes, that is what is happening in the world. But we have the power with our own thoughts and our energy to see things in a different light, to feel the energy of hope and possibilities and solutions being brought forth to resolve conflict. We see things in a different way. So when we keep focusing on what's not working in the world and what's wrong with a particular side of politics and a choice that a governmental agency may be making, and even our employers and people around us, when we focus on the things that are not right, we create this magnet of further deepening that not right, not aligning, not divine, disconnected energy. But when we focus on things turning around and try to allow ourselves to be aware of things in the world, but not put all of our attention on it and not lose ourselves in the dark side of it all, and open up the energy of there's a power greater than us that resides within each one of us, that if we choose to tap into that power, then we can transform things. We have that power. We have that energy within us. It's just a matter of opening that door and allowing that to be the flow that comes through us, to allow that to be the shift of consciousness and being one with everything that seems, well, unaffected, seemingly unaffected in the world. Look around. So many things in nature don't seem very rattled by anything going on. They are in this state of flow. The universe is in the flow. And it corrects itself. It recalibrates itself when necessary. Nature recalibrates itself. The weather recalibrates itself. Everything has a process of a rebirthing. Even the butterfly started out as this caterpillar, this insect crawling on the ground, and then is able to fly and reach heights because it goes through the process, the breaking down, and it doesn't create the resistance. You see, each one of us, we have something to go through, and as a collective conscious group, we are choosing to shift the consciousness together. And in order to do that, we have to look at the patterns. Where have we been in history at this time that is similar to where we are? And how many times will history repeat itself? And how can we, in our attention to our conscious thoughts and our connection, shift things and hold the vibration? And you, again, may say, but Sarah, I'm a person. You want me to think happy thoughts, and you want me to hold a vibration of joy and love and resolution and transforming disagreements and boundaries and territories and see things resolving. Well, we have to start somewhere, because we've seen what this has done to the world. We've seen what it's done in history. We can go back through the times of difficulties and other countries, and we can see the perils of war. We can see all of that from the past. And we can see even in our own country what different moments in time of an uprising have done. They have created a shift. They have caused us to be more aware. But everything is aligning for change. And if we choose to hold on to the thoughts of things that aren't working, and here we go again, and oh my goodness, when is this going to end? And we hold on to that hurt and that pain and that worry and that concern and the impacts to our country and other countries. When we hold on to this fear around this storyline, when we hold on to the angst, we hold on to the lack, when we look at things as being overwhelmingly just weighted on our shoulders, and we look at our lives and we focus on what's not working in our friendships and our families and our relationships, well then, how do we ever change that pattern? Every change begins with you. The caterpillar, as it's sitting on the ground, getting ready to go through its metamorphosis, it doesn't resist that change. The caterpillar, as it's in this process, doesn't really know the complete picture of what it will morph into. It just knows it's going through a change. And so we as human beings, we have an intellect and intelligence that as we're going through that change, we have the power to shift. We have the power to make the difference within ourselves. We have the power to make it be even greater. And that our struggles through the change, our weight on our shoulders can be lifted off, never to be revisited again, never to repeat the pattern again, because we are making a conscious choice. So right now we all have an ability to choose within ourselves. We may not be able to exercise all of our own individual choices and everything that we would like to do. We may not be able to wake up one day and say, today I'm going to go be a doctor. We may have a process to go through. We may not be able to wake up and say today, I'm going to change my financial outlook and I'm going to step from poverty to abundance overnight. We may not tangibly be able to make that happen, but in the conscious choice of the desire of making that happen, the feeling of what it feels like to make that happen, we could think such happy thoughts of how wonderful it would be to be a millionaire and to not have to worry, or how wonderful it would be to have our children in a different school, or help our child fulfill a dream and have the abundance to assist them in the study or the participation in an activity. We can have the dream of what it would be like to have a partner and no longer be the single parent trying to do everything by ourselves and struggling from one moment to another, seemingly feeling like we're no sooner over one little hurdle or crisis, something else comes up. We can see and feel it differently. And by focusing on that thought and that feeling in our own individual lives, the peaceful feelings, the happy feelings, the joyful feelings, the feelings of co-creating with the divine, the feeling of having that love partner, we are more likely to arrive there in a sooner fashion than sitting there thinking, I'm by myself, I'm lonely, I'm struggling, I can't do it on my own. It seems to be one thing after another. And you may again say, but SarahSpiritual, my history has told me that I have been in times of struggle and no sooner thought I was coming out of it, and then something else happened. And I will tell you that things have a cycle. Perhaps that caterpillar, maybe not holding the same intelligence we do as a human, of course, but that caterpillar may be in that cocoon, just waiting to burst out and just thinking this is really taking too long, or feeling the angst of the breaking down into the liquid to get into a new form, to create its beauty. And in that uncomfortable feeling, it too may want to break free. But it also knows that in that condition, in that liquid state, in that uncomfortable space, if it somehow were to burst out of the chrysalis and step into its new birth too soon, it would die. Everything has a time. So we can be somewhere and desire to be somewhere else, and it is normal and human to feel frustrated by things that are seemingly out of control or seem to be taking way too long. Way too long. And then choose to think happy thoughts while we're waiting for something good to happen. And choose to feel and visualize, and of course, take action. I never would say sit in the corner and think happy thoughts. I was just talking to someone about happiness and happy thoughts, and I wouldn't say sit there and think happy thoughts and send out the frequency and say, okay, universe, handle it. Well, sometimes that will work, but we have to choose to step out of where we are. If you're uncomfortable or unhappy in a job, or you're not getting paid enough, you need to do something to make that shift. If we need another study or a different degree or something else, then we need to figure out how we can give ourselves the ability to move ourselves into a new role. So what do we need to do to get to that role? Or if that seems too time-consuming or cumbersome or financially unapproachable because we are struggling financially, and now the thought of going back to school and having to take that on too and support a family, well, that's overwhelming. These are the thoughts that go through the human mind. I've been inside many people's heads, and we just play it out. Well, then choose something else that's more lucrative for now, to give yourself a breath and to reinvigorate you and do a different job. Invest in yourself in a different way. And then if it's meant to be, if that's truly your will and that's truly in alignment with who your soul has come to be, then something will offer in the opportunity. Perhaps you'll work for a company that says, and we pay for our employees to go back to school. Those things happen. But if you stay stuck where you are and expect something to change, and you're focusing on what's not working, clearly nothing's going to change. And if it does, it is by sure a miracle from God. And of course, we'll be grateful. And those do happen too. But we have to be active in our conscious awareness. We have to be kind to other people. We have to hold the vision of love and joy for all humanity. And when we disagree with someone or a circumstance is really repulsive to us, I'm not saying that you're going to go, oh, yes, but I love that about the person, because you don't like a circumstance or a story we're not going to suddenly say, I love that energy just to be false, to send love that way. We're going to have our opinion and we're going to feel something, but we're going to focus on what good can come out of it or how something can shift in a story. That's maybe out of our control, but we can hold a vision. We can stand united in the fact that we are citizens of a planet. We hear so many people talk about political parties and lines, and we look at countries and their territories and their borders, and we hear people speak of differences. But we're all citizens of a planet. You're not just citizens of one state or just a country. We all belong to the same vibe of the earth. We're all part of this collective energy. And so therefore we have to think the thoughts and feelings that support the vision of what we'd like to create. And we need to accept that something magnificent can come if we choose something different in our vision, in our thoughts. And then we can move ourselves in the direction of the change for ourselves individually. And then change will begin to happen in the world. On behalf of the collective consciousness, I hope you choose love. On behalf of the collective consciousness, I hope you choose to remove the thoughts of lack and disconnect from the things that are feeding your fears. On behalf of the collective consciousness, I hope you see yourselves as part of the one collective consciousness, the one true divine love. And that love is the answer. And that even though at this moment when we look around, there doesn't seem to be much love going on between countries and politics, but at the end of the day, we were all created in the divine energy of love. And if we focus on that energy and we apply it wherever possible, and we remember we're human, but we're also beings of light that have the power to transform anything, then the world would be a better place. There's that song, think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place.